The furnace breathed before they heard it. Not like machinery, not like steam, like something alive. Austin stopped walking and lifted his flashlight toward the towering, rusted stacks of Sloss furnaces. The dead ironworks loomed above him like the skeleton of some ancient beast, pipes twisting into darkness, catwalks hanging over empty pits. "You hear that?" he whispered. Behind him, Tristan adjusted the strap on his backpack and rolled his eyes. "It's an abandoned steel mill, Austin. Everything here sounds haunted." A warm wind hissed through the rusted beams. Then came the clang, metal against metal. Clang, clang. The sound echoed through the furnaces like a hammer striking a coffin. Austin swallowed hard. "We should have stayed at the hotel and missed the most haunted place in Alabama." Tristan grinned nervously. No chance. The brothers climbed through a broken fence and stepped deeper into the old industrial maze. Their flashlights bounced off crumbling brick walls stained black with soot. The air smelled burnt even after all these years. Online, people called this place cursed. Workers had died here, burned alive, crushed and melted, and every story eventually mentioned the same man, James Slag Wormwood, the night foreman, violent and sadistic. Legend said he drove exhausted workers past their limits, beating them if they slowed down. One night, after a deadly accident killed several men, the crew snapped. They dragged Wormwood screaming to furnace number 3 and threw him inside. The furnace doors were supposedly sealed, but his screams never stopped. Austin shined his light over faded warning signs bolted to the walls. Danger. Extreme heat. Below it, someone had spray painted. "He still works the night shift." "Real funny," Tristan muttered. A noise rattled above them. Both lights snapped upward. A figure stood on the catwalk. Tall, broad shoulders, long industrial coat hanging stiffly at his sides. The figure didn't move. Austin's stomach tightened. "You seeing that?" The beam from Tristan's flashlight flickered. For 1 second, the catwalk was empty. Clang. The figure now stood 1 level lower. Neither brother spoke. The lights flickered again, lower and lower, descending without walking, without sound. Austin grabbed Tristan's arm. The furnace exploded with noise behind them. Steam burst from old pipes with a shriek like human screaming. Rust showered from overhead beams as the brothers sprinted through the maze of iron corridors. Clang, clang, clang. The footsteps followed, heavy steel boots, always behind them, never closer, never farther. Austin risked a glance back. The figure was there now, 10 feet away. Its skin looked blackened and cracked like burned coal. Molten orange glowed through splits in its flesh. The helmet had melted into its skull, and its eyes burned white. "Workers," it growled. The voice sounded like gravel crushed in a furnace. "Shift ain't over." Tristan slammed into a locked gate. Austin grabbed the chain and yanked uselessly. The footsteps kept coming. Clang, clang. The thing dragged a hooked iron tool behind it, sparks trailing across the concrete. "Need more fuel?" Austin looked around desperately and spotted a narrow maintenance ladder leading upward. The brothers scrambled up the ladder as the creature lunged beneath them. The hook slammed into the metal rung inches from Tristan's boot. The entire ladder shook violently. Austin hauled himself onto a narrow catwalk suspended high above Furnace 3. Tristan followed seconds later, gasping for air. Below them, Slag Wormwood stared upward, then smiled. His jaw cracked open too wide. Inside his mouth glowed roaring fire. The furnace beneath them suddenly rumbled to life. Ancient gears groaned. Orange light burst from cracks in the floor grating. Austin backed away slowly. That's not possible. The old blast furnace doors began opening. From inside came screaming. Not one voice. Burned hands reached from the flames, clawing desperately at the opening before being dragged back into the fire. Tristan stared in horror. Then the catwalk jerked. Slag had started climbing. The metal groaned beneath his weight as he climbed hand over hand, flames dripping from his burned body onto the steel below. Austin spotted a hanging chain overhead connected to an old loading crane. "Jump for it." "Just jump." Austin leaped first, grabbing the chain with both hands. The crane swung violently over the glowing furnace pit. Behind him, Tristan barely caught the chain as Slag reached the catwalk. The creature roared. The sound shook the entire furnace. One burned hand shot out and grabbed Tristan's ankle. Tristan screamed. His body jerked downward toward the furnace glow below. Austin wrapped one arm around the chain and grabbed his brother with the other. Slag's grip tightened. Smoke rose from Trussen's skin where the creature touched him. "He stays," Slag growled. Austin looked down into the blazing furnace beneath them. Then he saw it. An emergency release lever hanging from the crane assembly. He swung hard toward it. The chain creaked. Once, then twice. Then Austin kicked the lever with all his strength. Something massive snapped overhead. The crane lurched violently sideways. A rusted steel container crashed directly into Slag Wormwood. The creature released Trussen as both it and the collapsing catwalk plunged into Furnace 3. The blast doors slammed shut. The entire building trembled. Then silence. Dead silence. Austin and Tristan dropped hard onto the concrete outside moments later after escaping through a broken side exit. They ran until the towering furnaces disappeared behind the trees. Only then did they stop. Both bent over gasping. Neither spoke for nearly a minute. Finally, Tristan looked down at his ankle. Burned into the skin was a black handprint. Still warm. From somewhere far behind them, carried across the night wind of Birmingham, came the distant sound of steel boots. Clang, clang, clang.